I think that one of the myths is that this is an international issue, that people come over from other countries only, and that it continues to be the idea that it is a young woman only, that sex trafficking is the only type of human trafficking that we have. So I think we do have to recognize that Canadian girls are also susceptible to being trafficked, and recognize that just about anyone, depending on the sophistication, if we want to call it that, of the trafficker, can be lured towards a trafficker. Very often in the issue of sex trafficking, we find issues of young women who are lured through what we call the boyfriend pimp strategy, where a trafficker pretends really that he is having a relationship with that victim and lures her into a relationship with that person, and then begins deceiving her, tricking her, perhaps forcing her to work in the sex trade industry. That's a very common strategy that pimps or traffickers use to recruit young women. Then, if that young girl is at home, for instance, and still living at home, which may be another myth, that the traffickers are somehow confining her, and sometimes that does happen, to a single place. But we are also working with very young women who are still living at home, and perhaps they are leaving school, or perhaps they leave home in the middle of the night and are forced to go with the trafficker at that point and work in the sex trade industry. So it's not necessarily that the traffickers are kidnapping these young women all the time and keeping them confined in a space. Young women might be moving from home to school to the trafficker, and perhaps that trafficker is using some form of coercion to keep them working for them. So I think parents and the general public have to recognize that there are a number of signs that we could be looking for our young people, and recognize those signs instead of, I think, what the stereotype is, that young women are kidnapped and forced and basically chained to a bed or to a radiator. That is not necessarily always the case. #, we've got you.